notification of council workshops, a recommendation that council note the following workshops. Could I have a mover for that motion, please?
So moved.
Councillor Roberts.
I'll second that.
Deputy Mayor Edwards seconded. Are there any queries or comments around this particular motion, please? If not, I put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. We come to item 5, public questions and statements. We have none received from the previous meeting, no questions received in writing. We have some public questions from Mr. Rowe. If you would like to come forward, Mr. Rowe.
Oh, God. Okay, righto. When I was a rock star about 60 years ago, it was okay. First of all, I congratulate you on your 10. I've been a community member for 40 odd years, and this is a wonderful place to live. I think everybody should be very proud. My questions tonight are as follows. Recently, my wife informed me that somebody had been fined $400 by council for covering a quantity of fruit trees. Now, I don't go into this media hype. I'm that far behind the times, but I'm a very practical person. I've grown all my own food for the last 50 years. I've got 40 chickens, which don't annoy their neighbours because I sit on a couple of acres. But I wonder if there's a policy in the council and what the regulations are on covering your fruit. Because if you're a gardener, you know we have many pests. We have blackbirds. They sing beautifully, but they're savage little critters. They will go into a raspberry patch and you haven't even got enough for a pot of jam. And sparrows are the same. So over the years I've built 3 tunnels. Now, can somebody tell me, maybe put on notice, where and what regulations there are? Because I live on the boat harbour on the hill, and if I left it open, I'm afraid I'd be out there 12 hours a day going shoo, shoo, with a shotgun, of course. Oh, mustn't say shotgun. So is there anybody can answer that? Is there a regulation?
Yes, Mr. GM will give you a response.
Good.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, I think the response will be very brief. I think you're right, Mr. Rowe, that we will need to take that on notice and find out. The fine that you mentioned is certainly news to us here on the table, so we're unaware of that.
Okay.
So we'll need to do a little bit of research and come back to you.
Okay, well, thanks very much for that. Now, bird flu. Now, we keep hearing it on the news. We're going to cop it in Australia. There's some virus that is so strong that it's going to get into all our native animals. If we get it in Tassie, say on the northwest coast, is the council in charge of saying what birds are to be destroyed? As you know, we got commercial chook farms, and I'm certainly not speaking for them. I'm speaking for my 3 flocks of pedigree chooks, that my wife loves them as much as she loves me. And we've been married 52 years, so that's not a bad. So maybe that's is there a regulation if you have, say, a dozen trees and you cover them? Does that come under the building code or what? So maybe you could look at that.
Through you, Mayor, yes, we will. Happy to come back to you in similar response to the first question, Mr. Rowe. Typically, with matters such as bird flus and so forth, other similar, I guess, matters, if you like, federal and state government departments generally run those, I guess, education and awareness programs, and then would advise councils what, if any, our involvement would be. So typically, our environmental health officers or others may receive some briefings along the way. But we can certainly, I'm happy to take it on notice and come back to you with some information. That'll be fine.
And the last thing, Speaker, Madam Chair, it's a sad state of affairs when you've done what you've had to do there. Security on everything. You must get some violent people here, because to have all the security, like I walked in tonight and click, ooh, yes, sign in here. It's a pretty sad state of affairs. Even in a town like ours, which I feel is safe. And that's about it. I've taken up enough of your time, and I'll be glad to hear from you in the future. What will it be, a month? Give you a month? Or no?
Through me, no, it shouldn't take that long.
Okay.
Sorry, it should be well before that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Rowe, for the questions you asked. They're quite interesting. So we all want to see what the responses are to those questions that you asked. Thank you for that. You're welcome to sit there. Thank you. Moving on to item 6, planning authority items. The item that was included within the agenda has been withdrawn, so we will then move on to item 7. Matters raised by councillors. Excuse me. Councillor Courtney's digitisation of property records. She asked a question and the officer's response is there. We haven't received any questions in writing. Are there any questions without notice from the councillors, please?
I have one little question.
Councillor Johnson.
Yeah, and Councillor Bramage brought it up earlier. I was just wondering about our little Wynyard jail. Is there any chance whether we can workshop it, e.g. to preserve it, or what we can do with it, or... Yeah, so I just asked the question there, if we can have a follow-up workshop or, what we can do.
Through me, the answer to the question is yes, we can. So we have found, I guess, previous, I won't call them reports if you like, but photos and investigations in relation to that particular matter. So it's our intent that we could workshop that as soon as the next workshop, which is next Monday night, I think, from memory. So we can list that then and discuss that next Monday.
Thank you for that. Are there any further questions? Councillor Bramage.
Just to follow up on that, I don't know, I would, only speaking for myself, is it appropriate or what that we have an on-site inspection of that prior to the workshop?
Through you, Mayor, I think you'll see, we've got a number of photographs which will give you a good visual representation of what's there, and I think following that, I guess I think would be the point whether or not there's a need for an on-site discussion. I think you need to determine what, if anything, is the use, if you like, of that, and then we can arrange any visits that might follow as a result. But we do have plenty of photos we can show you next week.
Thank you. Councillor Courtney.
Just wondering if we could have a workshop over what's going on with the res zones and where it is, where council, puts in a submission, or any feedback in relation to it. I note that all the councillors got an email this week or fortnight in relation to the wedge-tail eagles in our area and the baseline that's being used for the data for the res zones. So I would like to workshop that. I'd like some more information on that and what our obligations are under the federal EPA in relation to protecting the wedge-tail eagles in our area. So if we could organise a workshop to sort of discuss that further, I'd be very appreciative.
Thank you, Councillor Courtney. Are there any further questions? If not, we shall move on then to number 8. Notice of motion, none have been received. Item 9, reports of officers and committees. 9.1, community activation grants, round 1, and there is a recommendation before
So moved.
Councillor Courtney moved.
Seconded.
Councillor Raw seconded. The recommendation is before you. Would you like to open the debate, please?
No debate. I'd like to thank the staff, particularly Bronwyn, for the work that's been done on this. She puts the presentation forward in a really easy to understand format and goes over it with us, in detail if required. But I will note that on Friday night I attended, along with Deputy Mayor Edwards, one of the shows that we sponsored for mental health for theirs, the group that we went and gave the cheque to young Laura, the big novelty one, and it was an excellent presentation, and the amount of high schoolers that are coming forward to go to counsellors as a result of her coming out and doing these talks in the high schools. What Jazz has done is fantastic. What Laura did to organise it was fantastic, and I just think it's fantastic to see what our community assistance grants are delivering, and especially on mental health in our area. So just to actually see, the results of what we're putting out there, it was a fantastic night, and yeah, well done to Council for all we do in this area.
Thank you, Councillor Courtney. Councillor Raw, do you?
Yep. In seconding this, I'd just like to say, this time it wasn't fully subscribed, but it was great to see the people that put in for the different things. And I think the thing to note is that the groups within our community are asking for things where they can give back to our community. And I think that's great, that the funding that we provide goes into the organisation, but they're always using or doing something that gives back to many people in our community.
Thank you, Councillor Raw. That's a valid point that you have made. Are there any further speakers to this motion? Councillor Roberts.
Thank you, Mayor Dunham. Look, I just want to follow up on what Councillor Raw's just said then. The community activation grants typically are quite, they're moved around a lot between the groups and round 1 and round 2, so it's actually makes it quite accessible for all our groups. I think it's, to the level it's advertised, last time it was a quite active round, as was the round before, and I think that shows in terms of data that the staff of this council and the councillors of this council are supporting all of these groups, and they've all had a turn at accessing this funding, and it continues to deliver results for the community. So I just really want to credit the staff for the great work they're doing for the community groups. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. Are there any further speakers for this motion? Any speakers against? If not, I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. 9.2, East Yolla Road Options Analysis. There's a recommendation before you, councillors, 2 parts to that motion. One is to note the information, and the second one is to prepare a budget submission for consideration in the 25-26 annual plan and budget for any preferred treatment options. Councillor Bramich, are you?
Yeah, I'll move the recommendation, thanks.
Thank you. Could I have a second?
I'll second that.
Councillor Roberts. Councillor Bramich, would you like to speak to the motion?
Very few words. I believe that this will indicate to the people at East Yolla Road that we are caring, and hopefully something will be done next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bramich. Councillor Roberts.
I just want to quickly credit Councillor Gary Bramich for his work with the rural and regional roads. You're a great advocate for the rural regions, the safety of the roads, the quality of service on those roads, and genuinely, for anyone that's ever inquired of Councillor Bramich anything about the rural and regional roads, I assure you he has raised those matters with Council. So thank you so very much. Our community's a better place for it, Councillor Bramich.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. Are there any further speakers to the motion, for the motion, sorry? Any speakers against the motion? If not, I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. (9.3) East Wynyard Foreshore Master Plan, the annual report. There is a recommendation before you, councillors, that you note the annual status update on the progress of the East Wynyard Foreshore Master Plan. Could I have a mover for that motion, please?
So moved.
Councillor Roberts, could I have a seconder?
I'll second that.
Councillor Raw seconded. Councillor Roberts, do you wish to speak to this motion?
Just a really quick note, Mayor Dunham, that I'd encourage people to read this because it's got a little bit of the information in terms of what the 24-25 funding will be, including beachside furniture, etc. And anyone that's wondering what we're up to with the foreshore, you will see it there. And I just want to again credit the community and the council for working together to deliver something that's wonderful for our region. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. Councillor Raw, are you wishing to speak to this motion?
No, just confirm that it's an excellent plan and it's continuing on really well.
Thank you very much. Are there any further speakers to this motion? Any speakers against? If not, I put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. 9.4, the Annual Plan Progress Report, 1 July 2024 to 30th September 2024. The recommendation is that Council note this Annual Plan Progress Report. Could I have a mover for this motion, please?
So moved.
Councillor Roberts moved. Could I have a seconder? Councillor Hyland seconded. Councillor Roberts, do you wish to speak to the motion?
Just very quickly, the Annual Plan Progress, the All Goals section will tell you that we have 21 actions that are at least 90% of the monthly target, which goes to show you the level of efficiency of this council. And I always recommend people read the reports because there's so much data, there's so many photographs and evidence in there of what this council is actually up to, and I cannot commend all the staff enough. You do a phenomenal job and we very much appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. Are there any further speakers to this motion? Are there any speakers against the motion? If not, I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. 9.5, Councillor Code of Conduct Order 2024. There is a recommendation before you, councillors, that Council note the new Local Government Code of Conduct Order 2024, and item 2 is to rescind the existing Councillors Code of Conduct Policy Gov 016.
So moved.
Sorry, who was that? Councillor Courtney, thank you. A seconder.
I'll second that.
Councillor Roberts. Councillor Courtney, would you like to open a debate or...?
At this stage, I'm happy to pass the motion as is. I would like to bring to a workshop third point, which is introducing a public interest test for investigating complaints. I'd like to discuss that in a workshop further because I'd like to know whether we're using our own judgment on what's in the public interest, legal judgment on what's in the public interest, or the state service public interest test, because that's not worth anything. So if we're going to do it, I'd like us to do it properly and consider who's making the decision on what's in the public interest.
Thank you, Councillor Courtney. That will be noted. Are there any further speakers to this motion? Councillor Roberts.
I just want to note that this is from the Local Government Association and it automatically supersedes all our legislation. So this isn't something that we've decided amongst ourselves, nor will it require our vote to pass. So I just want people to note that, you know, I'd like to think that we do get along reasonably well, and this is not anything. It's just something that Local Government Association has handed down to us. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. Are there any further speakers to this motion? Any speakers against the motion? If there are no further speakers or speakers against the motion, I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. 9.6, Managing Unreasonable Customer Conduct. The recommendation before you, councillors, there are 3 parts to it. The first one is adopt the managing unreasonable conduct by customer policy. The second one is adopt the disruptive behaviour by the public at council meeting guidelines. And number 3, note the customer service charter amendment to reference the new policy at point 12, abusive customers. Could I have a mover for this motion, please?
So moved.
Councillor Courtney, could I have a seconder, please?
I'll second that.
Deputy Mayor Edwards. Councillor Courtney, do you wish to speak to this motion?
No, I think we're only noting it, and while I would be concerned that some councils may misuse this to impinge on the right of the public to ask questions, I'm pretty confident that we won't do that here. So I'm happy for us to pass it as is.
Thank you, Councillor Courtney. Are there any further speakers to this motion? Councillor Hyland?
Yeah, just on the comment that Councillor Courtney raised there, it's not impinging rights to refuse to ask a question. It's about behaviour, people's behaviour, total. And we've already had quite a few examples of that in the last 3 or 4 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hyland. Are there any further speakers to this motion? Any speakers against the motion? If there are no further speakers, and if there are no speakers against the motion, I put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. 9.7, review of childcare policies. The recommendation before you, councillors, is that council notes the review of all childcare policies to ensure legislative compliance with the new Child and Youth Safe Organisations Act 2023 and requirements of the Childcare National Quality Framework Regulation. Could I have a mover for this motion,
So moved.
please? Councillor Courtney, could I have a seconder, please?
I'll second that.
Deputy Mayor Edwards. Councillor Courtney, would you like to talk to this motion?
No, but I would like us to better understand it. So if we could bring this to a workshop so that we could all better understand what our obligations are under these changes, because I note that we've discussed it internally with staff, but I'd also like to know what that means for our obligations under the new Act.
Thank you, Councillor Courtney. Are there any further comments? Any speakers against the motion? If not, I put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. 9.8, Community and Engagement Quarterly Report. The recommendation is that Council note the Quarterly Information Report for the Community and Engagement Department as at the end of September 2024. Could I have a mover for that motion, please?
So moved.
Councillor Roberts, could I have a seconder, please? Councillor Hyland seconded the motion. Councillor Roberts, do you wish to speak to this motion?
I'll just couple things really quickly. One is I will always recommend that people read these. The amount of information that is in them is quite comprehensive, and it will give the public quite a great idea of what is happening around the region. And secondly, I just want to credit our new, not so new now, Director of Community Services, Alan Catamol, who the feedback about you is excellent. You're doing a tremendous job, and we're very appreciative of that, so thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. Are there any further speakers to this motion, please? Any speakers against? Councillor Bramage.
I'm not going to speak against it, but I'm just interested in the Waratah Caravan parking.
Councillor Bramage, could you move your microphone closer to your...
Thank you. Is up, and the visitors at the Wonders of Wynyard Downs with tourists, you know, that's quite interesting actually. Yeah. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you for your comments, Councillor Bramage. Are there any further comments regarding this report? If not, I put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. 9.9, award of tender replacement for crane truck 1265. The recommendation is that Council award the tender for replacement of crane truck 1265 to CJD Fulham for the net change over price of $162,093. Could I have a mover for that motion, please?
So moved.
Seconded.
Actually, Councillor Hyland, I think you were first, so Councillor Hyland moved and Councillor Courtney seconded. Councillor Hyland, do you wish to speak to this motion?
Thanks, Madam Chair. No, it's just a a replacement of one of our very important bits of gear, and obviously all the checks have been done on the tender, and happy to move it so it gets in progress.
Thank you, Councillor Highland. Are there any further speakers? Any speakers against the motion? If not, Councillor Bramage.
A question, if
Yes,
I may.
yes, you may.
Through you to the Director of Engineering, I guess, and if you can't answer tonight, it won't really matter. We're calling it crane truck, the truck that puts the signs up, lifts the people up. Is that what we're calling the crane truck?
Through you, Mayor, no, that's the EWP, the elevated work platform. This one has a small crane. The current truck is a small crane on the back for lifting off pipes, pits, those sorts of things.
Behind the cab.
Correct.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bramage. Are there any further questions? No further questions. No one has spoken against the motion. I put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. 9.10, the financial report for the period ended 30th of September 2024. The recommendation is that Council note the financial report for the period ended 30th of September 2024. Could I have a mover for that motion?
So moved.
Please? Councillor Courtney.
Seconded.
Councillor Roberts seconded the motion. Councillor Courtney, do you wish to speak about this particular report?
I won't speak particularly about the report, but I'm going to take a really cheeky moment to say thank you very much, GM Mr. Crawford. You've done an excellent job for us for the last 6 years. And well, with my term, obviously you've been here longer than that, but to handle me is quite an effort. So I just take a moment to say thank you very much for leaving us in such a good financial position. I hope that you do well in Burnie, and I hope that that favours them and that can help the rest of the area up here. But, you know, obviously you're going to be a serious loss for us. I know that we're in safe hands with Mitchell in Finance, but thank you for being able to move on to your next chapter, leaving us in such a fantastic financial position with such a long-term strategic plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Courtney. I think that we can all endorse that sentiment from Councillor Courtney, and we are very sad to see that Mr. Crawford will be moving on, but it is a new chapter for him and a new chapter for us. Are there any speakers against this particular report? Any speakers for? Councillor Highland.
Yeah, thanks, Madam Chair. Just one of my favourites, I suppose. The forecast cash on hand has actually creeped up over the 5 million. We're now into the next 300,000, so keep up the good work.
Thank you for pointing that out, Councillor Highland. Are there any further speakers for or against this motion? If not, I put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. 9.11, Senior Management Report. The recommendation is that Council note the monthly Senior Management Report. Could I have a mover for that motion, please?
So
Councillor
moved.
Roberts. Could I have Councillor Bramage wishes to second. Councillor Roberts, do you wish to speak to this motion?
Just very quickly, again, I say it every month, I highly recommend everyone reads these reports. They're so comprehensive that any member of the public would get a good snapshot of exactly what's happening at the highest levels of management within this organisation. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. Are there any further speakers? Councillor Highland.
Just a question, Madam Chair. The item regarding the clearing of the threatened vegetation, is there any details we can have around that, or is that not? Yeah.
I shall defer to the General Manager for that one.
Through you, Mayor, I myself am not clear how that particular matter ended up. I guess I can endeavour to find out what information is publicly available to pass on.
Thank you.
Are there any further questions, comments? Would anyone like to speak against this motion? If there are no speakers against this motion, I put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. 9.12 minutes of other bodies. 9.12.1 notes of the Waratah Community Board 13th of September 2024. Recommendation is that the Council receives the notes from the Waratah Community Board meeting held on Friday the 13th of September 2024. Could I have a mover, Councillor Highland?
So moved.
Could I have a seconder?
I'll second that.
Deputy Mayor Edwards. Councillor Highland, would you like to speak to this motion?
Oh, just one comment. A couple actually. As you can see, we've just about completed most of our major projects that we've got on the list, and actually the Smith Street Park is now the outstanding one. Got to make a decision on what flowers and what trees we need to put in that, and a few other odds and sods, but going really well. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Highland, for that update. Are there any further speakers to this motion? Any questions regarding this particular report? Anyone wish to speak against the report? If not, I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. We now move on to item 10, matters proposed for consideration in the closed meeting. 10.1, the motion to accept a late item. The Council, in accordance with Section 8.6 of the Local Government Meeting Procedures Regulations 2015, determined to add this report to the Council agenda, noting A, it was not possible to include the matter on the agenda due to the date of the workshop on this matter. B, the matter is urgent to prevent unnecessary delays to the recruitment process. And C, advice has been provided to Council to aid their decision making. Could I have a mover for that motion, please?
So moved.
I'll second that.
Councillor Courtney moved the motion. Deputy Mayor Edwards seconded. Councillor Courtney, do you wish to speak to this motion?
No, I appreciate though that the suggestions were taken on board, and we did come back to a workshop. So hopefully when that comes into the public, we'll be right to speak on it. But no, thank you.
Thank you. If there are no further speakers to this motion, I put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. We also have a recommendation that Council resolves by an absolute majority that matters listed below be considered in the closed meeting.
So moved.
Councillor Roberts, could I have a seconder?
Seconded.
Councillor Courtney. Are there any speakers to this motion or against? I put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously.